So Joe Solecki, you've had a few days to let it soak in a little bit. I'm sure you've probably watched it back maybe once or twice. Talk to you about the win this past weekend, man. How are you feeling about your performance and just how everything played out?
Yeah, it's weird to be talking to you on Tuesday and not the first thing I'm answering after the fight. Um, yeah, it's been great. It was awesome. It was a really tough fight, but that's the best I've ever felt in there. At least, composure wise, everything I was saying somewhere else when I was talking was like, I've done a good job of being composed in fights, but I think kind of despite how I was actually feeling, like maybe I had a good poker face or something, or still make good decisions despite being like a lot of things going on. I felt fantastic. Like our game plan was to fight for every single inch. And, that was not my perfect fight or how I wanted it to go, but never did I feel like I left the frame that was right in front of me. It was frame by frame fight. So, yeah, I couldn't be happier. And yeah, just excited to come out of there with a win. And I'm one more fight away from Dana's giant scissors, So coming off a loss into a fight is not fun. So coming off a win, I feel a lot better.
That's hilarious. I've never heard it put that way. So, wait, talk to me about. I mean, do you go back to the hotel right away and watch the fight? Do you wait? I mean, are you your own worst critic? Like, how do you go about the process of reviewing the fight?
Yeah, so in the past, like the Miller fight, I went back and watched, and I took a little bit of not even I don't know if it's constructive criticism or whatever to heart a little too much, which is not in my nature usually. Um, and then after the Gordon fight, read a lot of comments and stuff, so I was like, I'm going to give myself a little break and ease into it. But somebody, my cornerman Zach Leon watched it. He's a big fight fan anyway, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I watched it back without the commentary once and see what I could have done, so I can critique myself fairly first. Which there's plenty of things to work on. And then I'm going to go back and watch it and just as a fan and enjoy the commentary and all that. But yeah, I'll watch it so many times from now until the next fight, and just keep building. And then I'll go back and compare to other fights and just see where we can keep getting better and better. But now I feel like we're out of that, that little window where emotion plays into it. And you're like, he said what? Or, it doesn't matter. So that's the thing. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. I came out of the cage really proud of how I fought, just coming back from getting dropped in the first 15 and everything. But then when I got to watch the third round, you're like, oh man, like considering I was dropped, it was a grind of a fight. Like I felt pretty good. Like I felt like I looked pretty good on my feet and looked good. The failed takedown I wasn't happy about. I hurt myself on it, shooting in, and then pull guard off it. But other than that, I was like, man, like I'm pumped with the progress, and I see a body of work that I definitely know I can build off of, and that's really all I can ask at this point. I'm still young.
Yeah, no doubt. You're going to keep improving every time. So, Todd, the scores were all over the place. You touched on it, right? That third round. That's what it comes down to. And I'll be honest, watching live, I thought, ooh, I think we might be going to a draw here. I'm not sure. So, what did you think? I saw scores everywhere because some people thought round 2 was a 10-8 even without the point deduction, and that would change things. And of course, round 3 was up in the air. So, kind of, how did you see it?
Yeah, I saw a couple different things going through my head. In 3, when I was on my back off that guard pull because I failed the takedown attempt, pulled my rib out, sat the guard, felt like I could just get in there for a second, relax a little bit. Thinking there, I'm going. I had a little bit of time to collect, and I'm like, okay, I've been in fights before where won the first round, won the second round 10-8, and then came out of the gate too hot hunting for a takedown when I was real inexperienced and got KO'd off it. So I go, man, this is very similar to that fight because in my brain, 3.5 or 4.5 minutes of back control, 3 close submission attempts, and a foul. I'm going, that's 10-7, So just don't mess this up. That's kind of the devil on my shoulder. The other side's going, let's get up and throw some hands and try to make this clear cut as possible, Watching it back, I felt like it could have been the exact thing that won Jared Gordon the round in our fight, I landed a couple good shots in that round, like 2 or 3 solid shots. I didn't hurt him or anything, but like good thud you hear on the mic and everything. But he was putting numbers up, whether it was landing, hitting gloves, whatever. He was coming forward, putting numbers up. He had 2 takedown attempts that I ended up stuffing. And I go, well, I can definitely see how he got that, And now in this situation, I go, okay, if I'm a judge, I can see how they give it to him, but I think it's 10-7 for me in round 2. But I go, okay, I'm landing numbers. I landed as many hard shots as he landed, if not maybe 1 or 2 more. And on the failed takedown attempts, anytime he got on top was off of me pulling guard. So if they don't count as a takedown, he didn't do anything there. So maybe they're just neutral and they go, we're watching the volume on the feet. I don't know, So, but, and I never say this ever, and I never go back with could have, should have, would have. But in round 2, without the glove grabs, I mean, I've been on people's backs in fights, and there's no scenario in which I'm choking Jared Gordon in that first round while he's fresh. Other people, same thing. But with that, I guarantee without the glove grabs, I was under twice, and I know how the submissions were flowing this camp. And I know his personality a little bit, and I could hear how big he was breathing. And I do think there was a way out. Now, the thing that was surprising was how mentally tough he was to be in survival mode. He was pulling and ripping and fighting super, super hard to stay in the fight. So that credit has to go to him, but I do think there was a good chance to finish there.
That's interesting. So, so I want to ask you about the foul, right? The fouls in round two. My understanding, it was the feet in the fence, right? I mean, I think that's what was. And at first, I was like, well, that seems a little strong to take a point away from that. But then, as I thought about it again, I was like, well, wait a minute, that's a potentially fight-ending sequence, and he's multiple times adjusting the positioning with his feet in the fence. I'm like, nah, that's probably a warranted deduction there. But I was going to ask you if that was really affecting the positioning in that moment, the way he was doing that. But you're saying the glove grab was even worse.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't aware of the fence grabbing. I heard him say it, and I think even because he was keeping us so close to the fence with his toes, mine went in once. But yeah, I heard him say that. But a couple times I said to the ref, I was like, he's in my glove, but I didn't really turn and look or anything. So he said, stop grabbing his. I don't know what just happened. He said something about let go of his glove, and then the one time you'd actually hear on the broadcast, like, he's in my glove again. He's in my glove again. So I don't know where it came from, but with the glove grab, I don't think the toes determine the outcome of the fight. With the glove grab, I'm just glad a point was taken because, like I said, there's plenty of guys that had not finished from the back. Nicholas Mota being one of them, but he had no neck. He was hitting me back. I truly believe I was under twice, and I really felt like if I could just get that hand free enough to get behind the head, we were on, So, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but I'm just glad it worked out the way it did.
Yeah, well, that's even more justified now. Like I said, at first I thought it was severe, and I thought, well, no, it does make sense. But now hearing that, I didn't even realize that was happening. So definite point deduction there. Let me ask you, the ribs. How bad are the ribs? Are we talking about any kind of, substantial injury, or what happened?
I think I just tore cartilage, or maybe pulled. My brother's therapist saw him yesterday, so maybe he'll pull the abdomen. But I'm a crazy person. I'm trying to get on the Fight Pass Invitational right now in 3.5 weeks. So I taught last night. I'm going to lift and run today, and then I'll get back to rolling by the end of the week with something. Worst case scenario, I want to compete. I'll get a cortisone shot. I don't care. But yeah, we'll see. But I feel all right. I've done this before, boxing, sparring, throwing a hook, and kind of pop, 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 and it was just cartilage. And it's uncomfortable for 10 days, 2 weeks, and you'll be back at it. So that's the only thing, though. Everything else was healthy. Super blessed to come out of here in one piece. I feel good.
You guys are crazy, man. Normal people, we tear some cartilage in our ribs. We're like, I'm laid up for 6 weeks. I'm not going to work. Don't leave me alone. You got to bring me my meals in bed. And here you are. You can I'll take a shot and I'll compete.
That's what I was saying yesterday to our coach out of Charlotte, Jeff Jimmo. We were texting back and forth. He was checking on me. I'm like, I'm going to the gym tonight at Salty Dog, and I'm going to teach class. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I have to show up and teach class. Like, in my own ego-filled brain, I'm like, a man's got to go to work. I got to show up for the class. I got to know. And like, John Salter was like, I'll teach for you tonight. I'm like, it's his gym. I'm like, nope, I'm good. Like, they were trying to help me off the couch in Vegas. I'm like, get away from me. I will get up. They're like, no one's here. So just get up. Just let me help you up, But I'm too proud for my own good sometimes.
That's amazing. Is there any celebration? I mean, is there anything that you do as far as time off? I mean, I kind of had a feeling you were going to be right back in the gym on Monday, but I mean, do you do anything to, I guess maybe some family time, or do you do anything to go celebrate? Like what's the post fight like for you?
Yeah, we'll do family time. On the weekend, my wife works too, so right now I'll hang out with my daughter all day, and then we'll do some stuff this weekend. We'll go to the beach. We live by the beach, so you can't beat that. And then on Saturday, I can go back to my regular scheduled programming and my cheat meal. So that's always fun, having ice cream with the little one and all that. But we were supposed to be closing on our first house today, so like my week was spoken for originally. I was like, oh man, like I am not handy. So however long projects take, you can triple it. I'm like, all right, perfect. I'll come out of the fight. I'll take the week off and I'll just work on. But some stuff happened. It's next week. So I'm like, all right, I guess I don't know what the heck to do with myself other than hang out at the gym while they're training and try to lift some weights or something. But yeah, so we're just going to hang out, and it is what it is. I'm just glad that we're back in one piece. I missed my family all week, and get back in the gym. That's the thing is like, there are definitely prize fighters who are like in the gym when there's a fight coming up, and that's it. But like, for me, I'm a martial artist. Like the gym here and in Charlotte and Myrtle Beach too. I train in 3 different areas, but especially where we live, like that's kind of my family. So it's like, I don't know what the heck to do with myself. Like tonight they'll do Taco Tuesday after training a couple of the guys. I'm like, I got to come watch gi class so I can go get tacos. And, like what am I going to do? I don't have any friends that don't train really. So just hang out. I'm just going to hang out, train, do the best I can, and get back to studying some martial arts. In my time between fights last time, I was tackling some of like the Danaher DVDs and stuff for jiu-jitsu. And like, I was like, I'm going to take one each time and like break it down and watch it over and over and over again and add it into my game, So I'm having fun being a student again. I think I got caught up in like I'm a fighter. This is my career. I'm not going to do any jiu-jitsu tournaments between fights or whatever. And it's like, it's what I like to do. I might as well do it, So yeah, probably study some front headlock stuff and some back takes today if I get some time.
I love it. You touched. I was going to ask you about that. I was wondering. I know you love to grapple, and here you are saying you're going to try to get on the Fight Pass Invitational. Like, I wonder, does it ever become a part of your career where you're like, okay, now I've progressed enough, I have to focus solely on MMA? But it sounds like maybe you're saying that's not necessarily healthy or the best for you. Like, maybe no matter how far you progress in your MMA career, you'll keep passion of grappling and jiu-jitsu like at the forefront as well.
Yeah, it's not going to be a priority for me because fighting is my priority, So number one is as long as it doesn't interfere with training, meaning if it's more than like a day off on Friday to compete Saturday, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to taper everything to go. Like when I grappled Cowboy, it was like one day off, and then that's it, because it's grappling. I'm going to go grapple and practice the next day, if not. So, take one session off and get to it. But that, and as long as it doesn't get in the way of any fighting, So the big thing for me though is if it's fun and it's worthwhile, So like I'm probably not going to go enter a Noggin tournament because I've done 100 of those. But if it's a super fight and a good opportunity and there's a little bit of pay, I really can't justify it. This is my skill set in life, which for now it really is all I got. And someone offers me a little bit of money to come grapple and there's no risk to my health. Like I can't justify looking at my wife and my daughter and be like, I love to compete. I was offered money and it's something I was going to be doing today regardless. Like I got to go do it, So those are kind of my criteria for it. Just can't get in the way of the fight. I do think at this point in the game, since I'm paid to fight, it should be at least a fraction of that pay. And then the third would be if it's intriguing and it's fun, So if it's those things, I'm definitely going to do it, whatever it might be,
I love it, man. Obviously it's a little bit selfish for me because I get to commentate like the Fury professional grappling events, but I love it. I think it's so much fun because, as you said, it's guys like you and Cowboy and everybody else at at that level, but it's like a whole different vibe. You know what I mean? Because it's not an MMA fight. You're not worried about getting knocked out in there. Everybody's competitive. Sure, they want to win, but it's just, I don't know, man. It feels like a little bit of just a fun vibe of a whole bunch of people hanging out in addition to competing. I love it, man. I hope the thing continues to grow.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. It was a blast, especially because everyone on the card was from the UFC at that one. So everyone was like one notch lighter. Like we're still competitive. I want to win, but it kicks in not when we get to the hotel 2 days before. It's like when we're about to walk out, maybe, Whereas for a fight, it's like there's no room for error. And I think the other thing that keeps it a little more light, even at like the big tournaments, ADCC trials and stuff, you see guys that are going to compete talking to each other is typically the better guy is going to win. Also, it's not as fast paced where there is room for error in grappling. In fighting, the better guy's not always going to win, and one little error you zig this way, you could be over. So, and there's not as much at stake, So I just think it's a fun thing, And for me, like, if I get on the Fight Pass thing, it's like, well, the night before Brian Barberena, my teammate, gets to fight in T-Mobile, like I can try to go and watch, and I don't have to worry about is this going to cause my adrenaline to spike for the next day or any of that. With a fight, I would never do that, Or at Fury, I had my wife and my daughter in the room, and my daughter's not sleeping. We're laughing. We're watching TV. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's jiu-jitsu. I've done it for 20-something years. I'm taking it serious, but I don't need to peak like I would a fight. We get one crack at this, and our job's the line. So I do think, I think it's fun to, when I was just grappling, you could have told me that it would have been a mindset or a thing. But now you're coming from, the analogy would be like if I was, if you were like a SEAL Team 6 guy and then you go to play paintball, probably. You're like, well, I'm going to win, but I'm not going to die today, So that's kind of, there's no real bullets, fighting, there's no room for error.
That's such a great observation, man. That's hilarious. All right, so talk to me. What's ideal for you moving forward? I mean, I know you're gonna try to grapple, but it sounds like you got a lot going on with it with a first house. I mean, obviously that's gonna be some work. So, I mean, are you needing some time off? Are you hoping to get booked right away and compete? I mean, what's ideal moving forward?
No, that's just going to be between practice. I'll get that done. And the nice thing is I'll sucker my friends into it because I'll be like, oh, I can't. Can you show me? And then they'll show me. And then I'll probably forget about it and they'll have done the work. That's what happens when you have great friends, I guess. But no, I'm just gonna get. I'm back. I'm gonna get back to training, and then I'd like to fight in the fall. I think early fall would be nice. Like if I could be signing a bout agreement in August for the end of September, October would be awesome. No name specific or anything like that. The one that I thought would be fun for me personally, not trying to capitalize on his shine or attention or anything like that, because he's got his own fight to deal with. But like I think the Paddy fight would be fun for me, because not because I want to grow my following or anything. I think that might be a byproduct, but the thing would be like, I like that underdog role. And because of the notoriety versus the skill, I think no matter what I do, I'm going to be the underdog, if that were to be a thing. So if he gets past Jordan Leavitt, that could be fun, because it's like a similar timeline. But yeah, I mean, anything. I just want to keep climbing the ladder, keep showing up to work, keep getting better, and keep putting on, better and better performances, hopefully, So we've graduated. At least the one before last was a little boring with Miller. The last one I lost. It doesn't matter what kind of performance this is, I lost. This one I got my hand raised, and I think it was pretty exciting. It was a back and forth fight. So we're growing and growing and growing, and I want to get back to finishing people, but everybody's so tough in this division. It's going to be tough, but I'll be ready to do it.
I love it, man. Well, listen, it was a hard fought win, but it was a win, and that's what matters. It didn't come easy, but it got done. So congratulations on that. And maybe we'll see you here in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks on the mats.
Yeah, that's the plan. I hope so. Stay active and keep training, and then hopefully. Gosh, if you would have told me, a couple of years ago, I'd ever been to Vegas for anything fight related, let alone this was my 8th trip last time, and now if I go again, it'll be 9. You're like, gosh, this is the worst place for a guy that I don't do anything. I don't know. I mean, I like cards, but I don't have the money to gamble like that, So you're like, man, what do I do here? I sit in the room and watch how people are spending their retirement funds.
That's why it's a good place for you to go to, man. You come here gambling too much, man. It's a bad place to be. That's why you're safe coming here.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, man. Congrats on the win, brother. And we'll see you soon, one way or another. Whether it's an MMA fight or a grappling match, we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Talk to you later.